Thank you for listening to Shy Sox Talk with your hosts, Chris and Matt, your weekly place for White Sox fan reactions. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy the show.
That's fine.
Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to Shy Sox Talk. My name is Chris. Tonight, I'm joined with the newest member of our team, Bill Man, the sports guy. How are you doing tonight, Bill?
What's good, Chris? What's up, Chai Sox gang in the YouTube world? Thank you for having me.
Of course. And if you want to see more of us, more of me, more of Bill, or if you're just a White Sox fan, go over to topfanrivalry.com, plug in code ShySox, 10% off all merchandise and access. Tonight we're going to go in and we're going to break down the trade deadline for the Chicago White Sox. A lot of pieces were moved. A lot of guys came back. A vision moving forward for the team has been set. It's set by the man who set this vision, Rick Hahn himself. But we'll kick it off. The first move that the White Sox made, and they made early after the Angels pulled Ohtani for the trade deadline. And I will say the Angels, I think, overpaid a little bit in this move, but I think they overpaid because they're trying to keep Shohei. And they're going all in for it. Luke Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez go to L.A. in return for Edgar Quero and a left-handed pusher, a switch-hitting catcher, Edgar Quero, 20 years old, a left-handed pitcher, Kai Bush. 5-pitch mix. I think it's going to become a 4-pitch mix eventually. They'll stop throwing his fastball, probably stick with the sinker, but he will stick as a starter. What do you think? First move, let's just kind of dive right into it, Bill.
Okay, so coming into the trade deadline, I obviously had the mind that anybody on the White Sox who had 1 year left or was a free agent was going to get immediately dealt. So at first, I was having a very hard time believing that the Angels offer was the best one for Giolito. But come more down the road, I actually like it from both sides. So from the Angels standpoint, obviously, we baseball fans deserve to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. And this tells you right away that the Angels are just going all in for the postseason this year. So I think Lucas and Raylo both helped their starting pitching and the bullpen depth right off the bat. Now for the White Sox side, I'm hyped for Edgar Quero because the White Sox catching depth is incredibly weak. Because we have Grandal on the final year of his $73 million deal. Sebi Zavala, who's struggling, even though he hit a home run 2 days ago. And then you got Carlos Perez, who's, I don't know how much of an input he'll have, but I really like Quero. I really think he can. We'll see if he really pans out in the big leagues. Now, Kai Bush, I'm glad that they're going after left-handed pitching talent. I've been saying it all year. They lack at that horribly. So, yes, both are having down suspect seasons this season, but we can't really deny that, they're young and they can really pan out down the road. I believe they're both in Double-A, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, going down the road, I like this one.
They were trash pandas in the Double-A system for the Angels. I like Edgar Quero a lot. I actually think this was definitely your best offer you're going to get for Lucas. Definitely for Raylo. Raylo, unfortunately, kind of proves that he can't be a closer, which there's a lot of value in having a guy that can go in your 6th, 7th, or 8th inning and hold a lead. But the big thing is Edgar Quero, and because of a move that we'll later get into in a few trades, will have a couple of years to develop without his clock starting too early like Andrew Bonds did, and having to develop in the bigs. Plus, I like Kai Bush. A little trivia question. Who's the last starting pitcher who's a left-hander to start for the White Sox, and what was the result of his start?
I feel like Tanner Banks comes to my mind. Or Dallas Keuchel?
Dallas Keuchel. He went 2 1/3 inning, let up 9 runs against Boston Red Sox, and the White Sox lost 16-9 that night.
Fun fact, I was there in person.
Yeah, and brutal night.
Oh, he gave him like 7 runs in 2 innings, and I remember after that, fans were literally screaming DFA and right away.
I mean, and they should, but and they should have DFA'd him way earlier. But he had like 2 starts, I think, gave him some breathing room. Anyway, back to the trade. I like Kai Bush move. I think Kai has the qualities that Ethan Katz looks. If you watch Kai Bush pitch, he's very much Steelito-esque. He's very tall. He's very lanky. I think Ethan Katz can work with him. So lefty versus a righty. And I think Ethan Katz has a pretty decent track record over the past few years of being able to take guys who are Ds, make them Cs, Cs to Bs, Bs to As. Like you look at Jesse Schultens, Davis Martin, Toussaint has worked with Katz, and he's looking better. So I think I believe in Katz as a coach. I believe in his philosophy. So I'm happy they went over after a guy that I think Katz can kind of fix a little bit.
I agree.
And then I have a theory about Lucas. I think he's going to be back. I think the White Sox. I hope the White Sox didn't burn the bridge, but I think the White Sox are going to tell Ethan Katz that he can't talk to Lucas unless Lucas comes back to the White Sox. I think Lucas will come back because he likes Ethan Katz. I think that there's potential for that. I have my tinfoil hat on for that one though. My conspiracy hat.
I'll buy that one. And I think we were talking earlier. We thought he'd be a Dodger, but he went to the Angels.
Angels are going all in. Speaking of the Dodgers,
yes,
the White Sox did make a move with the Dodgers. They sent Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly to the Dodgers in return for Trace, the not NBA star, Thompson, Nick Nastrani, and Jordan Leisure. Trace drafted by the White Sox, and then I believe Nick is the reliever, and then Jordan is the starting pitcher in the minors. I might have them flipped, but one's coming out of the pen in the minors, and the other one's a starter.
That may sound about right, I think.
Yeah, your thoughts.
Okay, so for the Dodgers standpoint, they're obviously still fighting for a playoff spot. I haven't checked the standings in days. I'll come out and admit that, but I believe they're third. I know Arizona is literally dominating. I haven't checked on San Francisco, and San Diego kind of hanging in there, not really. So the Lynn and Kelly, actually, fun fact, Joe Kelly's going back to the previous team he was before he joined the White Sox. So basically, Lynn and Kelly are just basically more pitching depth to help the Dodgers get into the postseason. And from the White Sox standpoint, more top prospects. I could be wrong. I believe Nastrini and Leisure were like in the 13 to 15 in their Dodgers prospect playoff. Not playoff. What am I talking about? Prospect pool. There's the word. So they're at least retooling their farm system, which was also much needed. And Trace Thompson, which to context for everyone, he's the brother of Klay Thompson, current NBA superstar on the Golden State Warriors. So this is his third stint, and the old third time's a charm. I will really see how he pans out. I don't honestly know because his first stint, he was really good. Second, I guess I'll phrase it the old can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So I really don't know what to expect from Trace other than maybe just solid outfield depth overall.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I see. Like the thing that plagued the White Sox is no depth. Although the White Sox hurt themselves by not trading Lance Lynn immediately after the All-Star break. Like throwing him out there 2 more times hurt his value. His highest value was when he went out, like struck out 16, struck out 12, struck out 9, 3 straight starts. That's when they should have moved him. Joe Kelly is a sweetener in that package. I like that. Dodgers are leading the West now. I mean, the trade makes sense. Whoever the starter is, I can't remember if it's Nick or Jordan. I think will ultimately stick as a starter. They have 3 pitches. It's a fastball, slider, changeup guy. So he's going to be able to stick as starter. The other one's a bullpen arm that, bullpen arms are viable. You need a bunch of them. So I don't mind that feels like much more of a depth move. Although the White Sox did a disservice by themselves by not trading Lance Lynn the second after the All-Star break was over and letting him have 2 more starts. It feels like it really hurt his value. I'm also shocked. I thought he was going to be going to the Rays. But
I thought so too. But I guess that's the fun of trade rumors. Like they'll start boiling your brains. You'll go like, where? He's going to teams, and then the other says, psych, he's going to that team, and then they're all like up in arms, like, how dare you? We thought he was going to go to that team. I'm sure Rays fans probably don't care because the fact that
they were fine.
They're still leading the AL East.
Well, all the Rays fans I know in Tampa, they all knew Lance Lynn sucked because of me. So they were okay not having Lance Lynn joining their pitching rotation. I also don't know where he slots in because Tampa runs a 4-man and then a bullpen day. And it works really well for them. So, and then the move that I think was the move to extend Edwards' development time in the minors, Kendall Graveman is sent to the Houston Astros, a former team of his, I think the final team before he joined the White Sox as well. For the catcher, former top prospect for the Houston Astros, struggled a little bit in the bigs, but didn't get really consistent time because Maldonado is an absolute stud behind the dish. Your catcher for the future, or at least the near future, Chicago White Sox fans, Corey Lee. I mean, what do you think about this one?
So I'm honestly shocked. Overall, I'm shocked that the White Sox were able to move Joe Kelly, Kendall Graveman, who they paid like more than $20 million, I believe, combined for the two. So that's what surprises me overall. Graveman, I felt like overall he really had his moments. Not too many times where he was consistent, but with Houston, they're basically fighting to get into the playoffs along with the Texas Rangers, who have absolutely shocked all of us. And the Angels are still fighting. They're not going to give up without a fight. So I think Graveman definitely helps out. And to answer your part, the Astros were the last team he was on before he came to the White Sox. He was on their 2021 roster. So it's just like Joe Kelly, feels a bit more of a reunion. And for Corey Lee, from the White Sox standpoint, like I said with the Giolito trade, absolute weak catching depth. So I like that they added him and Cuero. And it seems like he's actually doing good in AAA. So I love I'm curious to see how he'll pan out basically. So I like how they added a righty and a switch hitter. That honestly puts a smile on my face. I like it.
I think Corey Lee kind of got hurt by the new rule changes in the sense that Maldonado Maldonado is so valuable behind the plate defensively. Like he just guns guys down that it's so rare, and it's why I would put him in top 3 catchers in the league and like in the majors. He's just so strong defensively, and I think Corey Lee just is getting stone blocked by that. And I think Houston's going to keep Maldonado around, and they got a good bullpen arm for their top prospect. That I just it happens with guys, right? Like they just don't have a place to go, and or they just don't have a roadmap to the majors anymore. And there's also Corey Lee plus arm behind the dish. Same with Edgar. Which is way better than Randall or Sebi because teams just run on the White Sox all day long. The Cubs had 5 stolen bases a couple days ago against the Sox.
Only comment I'll make about I don't know if I could really poke fun as much as I want to go Stephen A. Smith 2.0, like how the Cubs are the Dallas Cowboys 2.0. What can go wrong will go. What can go wrong will go wrong. Cubs are an accident waiting to happen. All right, there, I said it.
They are. Well, the Cubs suck. So this is a White Sox show. We can say Cubs suck. Yeah. Anybody on the north side, come get some.
Hey! Just remember, they're the MLB version of the Dallas Cowboys. They get your hopes up, and then they start crumbling down.
I also never capitalize them. Anytime I write text their name, I never capitalize it. I never do. I'm never gonna give them that kind of credit.
And just a reminder that the 2005 White Sox were always going to be better than the 2016 regular Cubs. I can't believe people still want to debate this. Like, I'm going to settle this once and for all. If you're telling me 11-1 postseason record is not that difficult, I don't know.
If Brad Hand, this is how close the Cubs were to not winning World Series. If Brad Hand doesn't shake off a slider and David Ross doesn't guess fastball, that game doesn't go into extras and the Cubs don't win a World Series. The White Sox didn't need that. They dominated every game, every inning. They didn't need a guest shaking off pitch. That was it. Like, that's the truth. If that doesn't happen, then Cubs never win the World Series. They never go into the 10th inning.
I agree. And look who they like. Cubs fought literally almost tooth and nail with the San Francisco Giants. They kind of steamrolled through the Dodgers, but they fought the Guardians. Came back from 3-0. Being down 3-0. Came back and won. Unlike the 05 White Sox, we steamrolled the 04 Boston Red Sox like as if nothing happened.
That's right.
We lost game 1 against the Angels. By the way, our only loss that season. Then bam. And then Houston, before they became bang, bang, bang cheaters, bam. We ran through them like as if nothing happened.
That's right. In Houston, that was when they had that weird outfield, like the hill, in the middle of their outfield with the flagpole. Just an odd stadium choice for Houston. I believe Houston still had that at the time. Also, a lot of people don't know this. Jose Altuve, NL All-Star with Houston. Think about that. How recent that league change actually was. But no, I like the Corey Lee move. It doesn't pressure Edward Cuero to come up next year, which I think the White Sox really would have screwed up. Because if you look at Andrew Vaughn, he's going to have his prime, and he's going to be with somebody else because they didn't want to sign a DH and give him a year or two in AAA. Like, they wanted to bring him up right away, and now, like, he's, 2 years to develop, and he's starting to look better, and then he's going to be right in his prime. He's going to be a free agent, and he's going to go somewhere else. So they'll hold Edward Guerrero down in AAA, AA. They'll use Corey Lee for 2 or 3 years and call up Edward. And I like the move a lot. I will, as much as I give Rick Hahn a hard time because he deserves it, I'll give him credit when credit's actually due. Back to giving Rick Hahn a hard time, though. Last big move of the day, and one that just doesn't make any sense at all. Jake Burger sent to Miami for left-handed pitcher who was a 7 ERA in Tommy John last year, Jake Eder. What are we doing?
Okay, out of all the moves, this one probably made me the absolute most angriest. And I don't understand.
Too.
I mean, and literally when Jake Burger's like breaking out, which, by the way, at the time of this recording, Jake Burger did hit a home run with the Miami Marlins, his first, and 26 overall.
For the White Sox before they moved him. Proved that he could play second.
Like, he actually looked like he was comfortable. Now, I don't know if we could compare numbers, but if you compare Jake Burger and Yoan Moncada, Burger's technically having a better season. Like, that one came out of nowhere, and I think he's under team control until 2028. But now, yes, I get it. More left-handed pitching depth and in all seriousness, I'm rooting for Jake Burger in Miami. I hope the Marlins go on a deep playoff run because I'm rooting for Burger all the way. Now, for the White Sox standpoint, like the Giolito trade, they were lacking left-handed pitching talent. Now, as you pointed out, Jake Edgar had a 7 ERA and was just coming off of Tommy John, which, let's be honest, people from Tommy John don't come back like top good right away. So obviously it's going to take him time, and we'll see how he really pans out. And yeah, we can't deny the 7 ERA, but I think Ethan Katz can maybe fix him. We'll see how much better he gets. But Jake Burger, we're rooting for you.
I mean, I love Jake Burger. I mean, great story. Tore his Achilles twice. If Jake Burger, I have a theory. If Jake Burger didn't tear his Achilles, the White Sox, and I know Yoan played second at the time, but he had experience at third. The White Sox would have Julio Urias as a starting pitcher because they would have sent Chris Sale to Boston or the LA instead of Boston. Because that was the other trade was Julio Urias, and then I forget who the other prospect was. Part of me wants to say Cody Bellinger, but I think Belly might have been a little too young, or maybe just drafted. But Julio Urias would have been a Chicago White Sox. Would have booked that.
Could you imagine if, let's say, and if Carlos Rodon still has his dominant 2021 season, doesn't even leave? Imagine your top 5 would probably be Julio Urias, Carlos Rodon, Dylan Cease. I don't know about Gio. Had they not moved him, we'll see. And then 5th
Dane
would
Dunning.
probably be like yeah, Dane Dunning.
They would have never moved Dane Dunning for Lance Lynn. We would still have Dane Dunning on the team. They would have never gotten Lance Lynn. Dane Dunning would have just been 5. Or Kopech. Or Kopech would – well, actually, Kopech still would have been in the pen because it was 21, still coming back from injury.
Which he was solid off the pen.
I think he should be a closer. Just go tell him to get 3 outs. Go tell him to throw as hard as you can and go get 3 outs. He looked great out of the bullpen.
Ooh.
Looks like a way different pitcher when he comes out of the bullpen. Which, like, I guess if you look back and like, wow, the Chris Sale trade resulted in a closer and a third baseman that can't stay healthy, like, I get it. But, I mean, go ask the Toronto fans or Oakland fans that if they're upset that Liam was no longer a starter and went to the pen, became a dominant closer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Then imagine if him and Liam were basically 1A, 1B. Like if Liam couldn't come into the ninth, Kopech could easily fill right in. Then maybe, just maybe, we probably would not have traded for Craig Kimbrell. Maybe we could have not brought back Graveman, but more for middle inning relief.
I mean, I don't really know what happens in the off seasons. You probably still go get Kelly or Graven, but Raylo definitely is a bullpen arm way earlier than he is, because he probably isn't pitching 2020 as a starter. So 2020 probably looks different. I mean, that would have we could do a whole episode on like what it would have actually looked like in the moves that would have been different if the White Sox traded for Julio Urias instead of Kopech and Mangata.
That would honestly be a very interesting episode to do, just to make it like a huge what ifs. Like, what if that didn't happen? What if this?
What if the White Sox would have drafted Mike Trout instead of the other outfielder that they picked? The pick before Mike Trout. Oh, I don't want to hear 20 other teams pass on him. I don't care.
No, I kid you not. Well, not just White Sox, but any other team. You draft Mike Trout, you're in heaven.
Actually, even better, we'll finish with this. What if the Angels don't trade for Mark Teixeira because they got that draft pick from the Yankees because they traded for Mark Teixeira and then Mark Teixeira left for New York. And if you traded for a big enough player at the time in the major leagues, at a high enough war, you got that team's draft pick that he went to. So that's why the Angels had that draft pick.
Ooh. And then I guess also, sadly, we won't be seeing Liam as I'm literally looking. Unfortunately, Liam Hendriks is out for Tommy John. He is sidelined 12 to 14 months, which probably means we won't see him till 2025.
If the dude can beat stage 4 cancer, we'll see him back next year.
Oh, easily. Although, at first, I feel more than bad for the guy. The fact that he came back from cancer, plays 5 games, and then goes on the IL with elbow inflammation. Now needs TJ.
I think he might retire. I think you could see him hanging it up, especially if the White Sox are garbage next year, which I expect them to be, unfortunately. Tim Anderson, be on the lookout for his boxing classes on Instagram soon. And if, like I said earlier, if you want more of myself, Matt, baseball fan in general, or more of Bill in the near future, go over to topfanrivalry.com, Coach Ty Sox, 10% off. And as always, Bill, go White Sox.
Yes, sir. Go White Sox.